I'd see him sitting on that couch all day long, just staring at that Hollywood hogwash.
Our favorite show was Hollywood Hogwash.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hollywood Hogwash. I'm Andrew Pisano, along with my brother Joe Pisano and Aaron Rosa.
Love the new wall.
Yes.
Amazing.
How about that, huh?
Well done.
Thank you.
Sean now, is higher. And we've got the Joker.
Yes.
Amazing.
Because it's all part of the plan.
It is part of the plan.
We got Rhea on the wall.
But I like the logos, man.
Yeah,
Hogwash made the wall.
They
Love
look
it.
great. Yeah.
They look amazing.
Very excited to debut it on Hollywood Hogwash.
Yes.
That's right.
Like after we recorded on Thursday, I spent the next 8 hours doing this. Like I didn't go to bed till 6 a.m. just because I was obsessed with it all.
Into it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had the Joker for a couple weeks and I was waiting for the signs to be ready. And the signs are like a story, like in itself, but we don't have to go into all that.
We won't
But yeah.
bore you.
I love how it looks. Hopefully it looks as good on camera.
There she is.
But yeah, very
Right.
excited about that. So
New look.
new look, yeah, but it's the same show, and it's we got a big one this week because we're talking Thunderbolts and we're talking the latest episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and it's going to be an interesting podcast because every once in a while we have a movie that we review where we don't all agree on it. Some of us didn't really like Thunderbolts, and some people
You're a freaking mark.
were marks about
fuck
it.
yourself.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
no, it's fine. Like I'm not. You can probably tell who's the one that didn't like Thunderbolts. I'm not gonna be angry if you like Thunderbolts.
Of course
like
not.
it's fine.
You don't
No.
like anything.
No.
You're that
No.
guy.
Right.
You're very
I
tough
hate
to please.
Everything.
It's
You're
not
very
like-
hard to please.
It's not like our listeners have even written hashtag Andrew hates everything. It's not like that's a thing.
no, it's not like we created a whole podcast 10 years ago where we bitch and complain about wrestling and.
That's because wrestling was
No,
so
this
bad.
was supposed to be your release from that
It
because you
was.
hate wrestling.
That's-
But we
Thank you,
started.
Aaron.
We started
Thank you.
too late because we started after Endgame when everything sucks in Marvel now.
It's not my fault you started with a Venom movie.
That's true.
You did that to yourself.
That's true.
You can't go into this movie going, it better be Endgame.
I did not
not
do
gonna
that.
be
I did
Endgame.
not do that at all. Stop it. We're going to get into it.
right.
But first, make sure you go to patreon.com/Hollywood Hogwash. You get this show, the main show, ad-free before everyone else gets it. We've also got over 100 bonus podcasts that include brackets and reviews of various shows like The Last of Us, Daredevil, The Boys, Invincible, The Penguin, Squid Game, X-Men 97, Loki, and Mr. McMahon. And of course, there's other shitty ones like Secret Invasion and, But yeah, go to patreon.com/Hollywood Hogwash. Go check it out. I mean, currently, like I just said, we're doing season 2 of The Last of Us, getting into it.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Maybe we should change the name.
Yeah?
Like Hogwash is cool. It's kind of like a Simpsons
It is.
reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about What's Wrong with Hollywood?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Hollywood Hogwash is kind of that in itself,
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's
right.
hogwash, but that's what I liked about it. But yeah,
No, I'm just
go to patreon.com. That was one of the names. That was one of the work, like I was like going back and forth.
Working
But then I
names.
just didn't want to call it the same as the wrestling one, I wanted it to be a little different, but
We kind of fell into this thing where we've done good shows and bad movies.
yeah.
Like, how did that work?
It's because most movies just kind of suck now. I feel like the
A lot of
shows
them
have
do.
been better. I don't know. We're gonna get into it, but yeah, patreon.com/Hollywood Hogwash. All right, let's get right into Thunderbolts. My first question is, how much did Marvel pay for the first reviews on Rotten Tomatoes? That's what I want to know.
I don't think
know?
they had to.
They definitely did, and I think the rest of the critics just had to follow suit because they didn't want to be shamed. Look, I get it, all right? You guys liked a movie. That's fine. I think you want to like the movie because, we're so desperate for Marvel to be good again that you're kind of like, I need this to be good, As long as it's not complete dog shit, you're like, I'm going to force myself to like this because I just don't want to live in a world where Marvel just continues to suck.
I agree with you that the critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, you can't trust any of that. It's all bullshit. It's totally unreliable. But the audience score is at least some kind of weather gauge on how good a movie actually is. It's not totally accurate. It's an idea. It's in the 90s for this movie. It's in the not 70s, not kind of so 90s.
So
but also,
you're a fucking minority,
I guess. Well, no, I absolutely am. Also, the thing about Rotten Tomatoes, like that doesn't mean that the critics think it's a 9 out of 10 movie. That just means 90% of them liked it. Yeah. And when you go into the reviews, most of the reviews are like, it's okay. So like to them, it like barely passed, like maybe a 6 out of 10. And look, this movie's not even a 6 out of 10 for me. I just think post Endgame, Marvel has fed us shit for so long that now we're getting used to the taste.
Should we just open with our scores and go from there? Like,
hold on. No, we'll get to that.
Like,
later. Hold on.
We need to hold them to a higher standard. Yes, I was not expecting it to be Infinity War. At the most, I was expecting it to be okay. Just like I did like Captain America 4. I thought it was a fine movie to see once.
Yeah,
there were some scenes I enjoyed. You know, I think Harrison Ford helped because he's one of the best actors.
Let me ask you a question.
That one was fine.
Did you like Yolena in this?
No.
What?
Really?
No. She was so boring compared to her other movies, the other stuff she was in.
This is how she is. This is actually, and she's dealing with something now.
She's fighting depression the whole fucking movie. She's not going to be comic relief.
Yeah,
that's why she's not comic relief.
No, I didn't need it to be comic relief. In fact, there was too much quippy Marvel humor that I'm tired of, to be honest.
Did you like the Red Guardian in this?
Not as much as Black Widow. And Black Widow was okay, but no, the poop. Come on, poop jokes. What are we, 5 years old?
What? I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't love poop jokes?
If one of us farted right now, we'd all be crying laughing.
It crying was because of how bad it smells.
You watch Sandler and Will Ferrell movies. Are you kidding me?
There are good poop jokes.
Hold on, Andy.
And there are bad poop jokes.
Boo-boo? Yeah. See, you're laughing.
There are good and bad poop jokes. You can admit that.
There are good and bad jokes, period. Sure. Yeah. Sure. It's an easy laugh, and I don't think there were 10.
So tell us why this wasn't a good movie.
This was, first of all, we all knew what this was. It was a Suicide Squad ripoff, but really they decided to rip off the first Suicide Squad movie. That was the problem. You should have ripped off James Gunn one, the one that James Gunn did.
Well, okay, I have a different take on that.
Okay.
That's been done. They've done the silly, crazy, zany thing. They did that, but they did a more, like, this movie had heart. It was really emotional. This was not just like a silly, zany, shoot 'em up action thing.
But then it was
very deeply
emotional. It's got to be some of that.
But then it was
some of that. It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, right.
But they took a different take on this. This was a very kind of heavy, emotional
thing.
thing.
They tried to have heart, and none of it, you know, like...
It absolutely
The story, for me, the story was different. I didn't know anything about Sentry. I thought this was a great introduction of this character and how torn he is and how dangerous he can be.
Unstable.
Almost like a Phoenix Force kind of situation, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I can go with the powers because I'm going to lose my mind and be the void. And then we had like a nice kind of face turn at the end. I thought it was a really wrapped up story.
They were smart with him because most people don't know who Sentry is.
Right.
So they didn't try to go too deep in the weeds. It's just they kind of hit the broad strokes things. He's got some telepathic stuff.
Yeah.
He's unstable.
And Valentina was great. She's so cocky.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
She's
Like
the worst part of the movie.
Oh, are you
She's so fucking boring.
Julia, what?
She couldn't be more boring.
Right.
She's the worst villain in MCU history.
But she was like confident, like in front of Congress, like, okay, yeah, you're not shutting me down. And then they didn't.
You just thought you were watching Veep for a while.
Hold on.
I've never seen Veep.
Joe, on this one, I do have to side with Andrew. She was not a great villain.
Terrible.
In this. I will give
the worst
him that,
villain they've ever had.
But I don't think this movie needed a traditional Marvel villain. That's not really what this was.
This movie had no villain. This movie had no villain. It was Sentry for 5 minutes.
It was Sentry for 5 minutes.
Void for 5 minutes, yeah.
And it's kind of the way they had to do it with this movie. Because he's too powerful for anybody to take down.
Well, that's part of the problem.
MCU,
Unless you just give him a hug, then you beat him.
Yes.
You just got to hug him, and then you win.
I'm sorry you have the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old, Andrew. That you can't
That's
handle,
how you beat everybody, though. You got to fuck with their heads.
Love wins. Like fuck me. Fuck me. Love wins. That's a superhero movie.
We have to have Sentry.
Remember how great Walking Dead was until they made the whole fucking show about love. Love wins. That shit sucked.
That sucked because you're watching a zombie movie and they stopped doing zombie stuff.
Oh, please.
That's what made that bad.
The Guardians of the Galaxy all hugged and they won and it meant something. That was good.
I'm really
This was
struggling
not.
with this because you're the guy that's always been the champion of a movie has to have great story, great script
beginning,
writing,
middle, and end.
great
Yeah.
characters, great dialogue, great make us care about these characters. This had a lot of that. I cared very deeply about this team.
I did not.
They had great chemistry. They did a great job building them together and making you give a shit about them.
Yeah, when they all came through the void thing with her at the end, that was great.
The last scene, I'm not sure how much we're jumping around already with
No,
this.
whatever, it doesn't matter.
But the very end, the last scene when they all came to help him,
Yes.
like, I got misty, dude.
Right.
Very emotional.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I shed
It's
a tear, but I thought
emotional.
it was great. I thought it was like,
It was
oh, here
good.
they come.
None of it,
Because they never-
nothing hit for me.
Because
really
they
gave
didn't
a
know
shit.
if they were going to die or not.
Right.
By going into that, they're like, we might just be dead. Fuck it. Let's go try to
Right.
save our friends.
The only part I kind of gave a shit was when Yolena was telling, Red Guardian that, I needed my father, you weren't there. Like that,
Yeah.
that worked. That
Sure.
scene worked, I didn't hate the whole movie. I also didn't like that the whole movie's gray. The background's gray. The set's gray. The costumes are gray. Like, this movie has no second color. Everything's just gray.
Andrew, it's a movie about depression.
Oh my! So is Fight
Jesus.
Club, and the movie has color, even though it's dark.
Okay.
Well, just red. For
It
the
just
blood.
has that Marvel gray tone, like just where we're gonna put a filter just to save money because we have all this CGI and shit. Like everything's gray, and I don't like that. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, but that's the whole. This is the arc of these characters. They're all rejects. They're all losers.
And that's
they're,
what made Sentry
they're
different
all-
when he was in the gold.
they're
So
all
it's Suicide
fighting
Squad, but
depression.
it's a colorful movie.
Shut up.
Color?
They're all fighting
Shut
depression.
up.
The movie's
Shut up
all-
on the podcast.
Stop interrupting me, you fucking piece of shit. Okay. So it's gray, they're all depressed, and then at the end of the movie, when they beat the void, things are colorful. They're wearing their Avengers gear.
Sure.
They're in Avengers fucking tower to
know.
end this movie. Holy shit.
Please, like they even belong in the Avengers Tower.
You didn't mark out it seeing
They
Avengers
don't.
tower
No.
again.
No, that they don't belong. That's the whole point, I think, of this entire story. Is it's like, and then they kind of start telling you, like, well, Sam Wilson has his own team, and now who are the real Avengers? Like,
Yeah.
I want to
Like-
dig into this.
They don't belong, but as a fan, you're still supposed to like it, and I think you guys did. But no, I didn't. They don't belong in that tower.
Hold
they
on.
shouldn't even be there. That now we're gonna get Doomsday. Part of Doomsday is gonna be about who are the real Avengers, and it's like, oh, that just sounds fucking
No,
boring.
these are not the real Avengers. I don't think these are the real
This whole
Avengers.
No,
thing-
of course not.
It's-
but well, they're gonna be part of them. Everyone's
for
gonna
comedy.
be an Avenger.
It's for
Right.
comedy. Of course, they're not the Avengers.
Well, they will be. They will be part of the Avengers.
Yes.
But yeah, not the main Avengers. All right, so look, I have a thing on every character that we'll get into. But first thing, the thing I was most shocked about was that they said meth in a Marvel movie.
yeah.
I was surprised that they mentioned meth multiple times.
Yeah.
How that Bob guy was, he was like,
Yeah.
I was on meth. I was like, wow, there's gonna be a lot of kids asking their parents, like, what's meth? They're gonna have to explain that.
Yeah, it's
Or
tough.
it goes over their head, like a lot of Shrek jokes when I saw the first Shrek.
Well, Shrek wasn't just like, "Oh, donkey, you're on meth." Like I looked right into the camera.
but it,
They
was
said
so much
meth
happening.
multiple times.
They did.
I was on meth.
Yeah.
It was a darker movie.
All right, so let's get into Sentry. I've heard a lot of people liked what's his name, Lewis Pullman. Is that the son's name? Bill Pullman's son, Lewis Pullman. Whatever.
Oh, I
That's
guess
on
so, yeah.
Ryan Pullman.
No, not Ryan. Sentry, I really didn't like his performance. Like, Sentry's open and honest about his meth addiction, but he doesn't want to talk about his father.
Lewis.
So we're like, oh, there must be something big there. And then we just find out his father yelled at him when he was a kid. It's like, that's your big thing?
He had an abusive father. Yes.
He just yelled at him? You could talk about meth, but, like, his father just yelled at him?
So you wanted to see a child abuse scene in an MCU movie? Is that what you wanted?
No, but at least talk about it.
So you wanted to
Talk
see the
about it.
dad
He
shine up
raped
his kid
my
with the bottle of
asshole.
Jack? Is that what you wanted to see?
No, but talk about it. Explain things.
They did, though.
It's
They
the-
did.
it's-
No, you just went, oh, you suck.
It's
oh,
very
that's
heavily
terrible.
implied.
Okay.
But that's not what's
Because the
giving him
wife
his
said
power.
something
Bad
about like
storytelling.
you're just going to make him worse. You're just going to make him madder or something. It's heavily implied.
Hold on,
That's
time out.
what's going on.
Him being having abusive
You guys
father.
are acting like this is like the next like amazing
Well,
film.
we're just arguing our
like
point.
Oscars.
I mean, it's still only like a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Probably we'll talk about it later. It's not
you
like
should
I'm
ask
not
Eric
saying it's a
Hamilton
9
what
out of
his
10.
he thinks it's like Endgame level.
Stop.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
he's a
what he told
Mark.
me last
But he
night.
says that about every Marvel movie. I love that for him. Great. He enjoyed it more than
Sure.
any of us.
Yeah.
But I think it's not just about his abusive father gave him these powers or gave him his story. I think it's like, no, like, I don't know who the fuck I am in this world, where a lot of us have been there. And it's also, yeah, I had an abusive father. Now I don't know who I am. Then I got all these tests and they rammed all these fucking needles down my thing. And I think I killed a few people in the process. Holy shit. I'm going through everything. So I don't think it's all based around, all right, abusive dad. Like, yeah, that was a thing. And then this was a thing. And when you add it all up together, I could be a really evil motherfucker.
And by the way, also about Sentry, the moment when they all break out and then he, goes back to distract everybody and he gets shot and then he rises back up and he starts levitating. We have our moment of holy shit, we have Superman. Up to this point,
Right.
in the MCU, we've had Hulk, we've had Iron Man, but when
Captain
something
Marvel.
that's really a problem shows up, when a Thanos shows up, there's nobody that can go toe to toe with that guy. We have a fucking Superman now.
Sure.
But do
That
we?
was-
Or is he going to be evil?
Well, we'll see.
we don't know.
Well, that's the
We'll
problem,
see,
right?
But that was a really huge moment. I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
But it's also like annoying that they're like, he's stronger than every Avenger combined. And it's like, so now you're just telling us that like everyone else sucks, but this guy.
Well, so they're going to use him sparingly.
Yeah, and then things are not going to go well because he's unstable. I love how they kept saying unstable because when we did the superhero draft, and Aaron drafted Sentry.
Yeah.
And like when ChatGPT was like, oh, he would lose because he's so unstable.
Right.
And then this movie, they keep using that key word.
Yeah.
One scene I did like was when he was beating up the team.
Yes.
You know, unfortunately, only lasted like
Effortless.
30 seconds because he easily beats them up. But like,
Effortless,
I
yeah.
wanted more of that in the movie because then, like, once Valentina hit the kill switch on him, he just turned into the void. This black shadow that just shadows everyone, and then like, there's no action for the rest of the movie.
I have a feeling we're going to see a decent bit of Sentry in Doomsday.
Well, sure, we know he's gonna be in it. Yeah. But where were they, by the way? Were they like in his mind? Were they sharing dreams like Inception?
It's kind of the
How did
vibe
that
I was
work?
getting, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like Inception style?
oh, like at the end? Or
What, the whole movie?
Yeah. No, I think it was like, when Scarlet Witch fucked with everybody and sent them to their own kind of place. Like, I think there was some of that. I think he's like a Scarlet Witch combined with Captain Marvel, combined with.
It's kind of like Unbreakable. Like when he touches you, he finds out your darkest secrets. Like U.S. Agent's dark secret of not being the best father in the world.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a not great one.
Right.
Like that's his like. That was like part of the thing that was like funny for me. It was like, oh, okay, Yolena obviously got this little girl killed when she was a little girl. That's terrible. I get that. Oh, what's U.S. Agent so tormented about? He was flipping through TikTok while his newborn son was crying. It's like, this guy's murdered people, and that's what he feels so shitty about? I mean,
I think you're kind of missing this. But speaking
Okay.
of U.S. Agent, though, did you guys catch that part where they're trying to escape from the room and he comes in to like break the wall panel or something and on your left, and then he busts the thing?
sure.
There's a
Nice.
neat little slip in there.
I also didn't like that they were in that fucking building for half the movie. I thought they were in that building for way too long. I wanted them to get out of there.
That was surprising, yeah.
I think you could have cut a half an hour of that.
There was a good Winter Soldier joke when they all dealt with their stuff, but you didn't really see his. And like, are you okay? He goes, oh yeah, I had a totally,
He's like, oh no, there's no dark in my past.
Yeah,
something
right,
like
something
that.
like
That
that.
was my
That was
favorite
great.
line in the movie.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I did get a kick out of that.
That was good.
I thought Bucky was okay as the second lead, but he had way too many scenes where he's talking to congressmen and assistants. Like, show one scene that just shows that he's miserable as a congressman, not like multiple where he keeps calling that assistant that really never has an arc. She never really betrays Valentina. She sticks up for her at the end. And it was just like, you're going to be a thing moving forward? Okay.
Yeah.
But he did have a great opening scene where he shows up to help. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The
Bucky?
car convoy scene, yeah.
Right, and that was in the trailer. That was another issue I had. The best like shots were in the trailer. Like, that's the car chase scene, and then I guess the Sentry part wasn't, and that was one good. But again, that was like 30 seconds. Also, if you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, like the only reason you think U.S. Agent is a bad person is because he's just not the best father in the
Right.
world.
And he's just kind of a dick.
Right.
But I think some of this, they're like, you kind of have to know a little bit of the story. right? I think most people are.
Well, Falcon and Winter Soldier was very forgettable.
Sure.
Let's not forget
Yeah.
about that. So it's kind of, that was hard to just throw him in there. I also thought Ghost was useless. She had nothing to say. And she's so OP that like every scene they had to like blast that sound to take her out of the scene so that she can't just easily fix something.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she had the same weakness as Venom, like just loud noises, and she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't really do anything with her. She could have been so much more interesting.
I thought one positive was that they killed off Taskmaster right away because I don't know how she would have fit in this movie.
Yeah.
They clearly decided the magic number was 6 for
Yeah.
this team. And she was just one too many. No, them killing Taskmaster that early in the movie. Taskmaster's a problem. Like,
Right.
way too easily killed. Very early.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that was-
Taskmaster is nothing like what he's like in the comics.
Well, sure.
They made him a woman that was a Black Widow and then thrown it. I mean, that's nothing like Taskmaster at all.
No.
But it's weird because they kind of he was, Taskmaster, wasn't he? Like in Civil War. Wasn't he at the beginning as Taskmaster?
He looked like him.
He looked like, I guess they never referred to him as.
They never called him Taskmaster,
called him
and then
by
they
his
they
name,
called
yeah.
this one Taskmaster.
Yeah. So I didn't know this. Matthew told me this. Stephen Young was supposed to be
Yeah,
Sentry, which is insane. Like,
I would have
his stock
preferred
is
that.
riding.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I would
we
have
all would
liked
have
that.
loved that because he's a great actor.
Yep.
That would have been fun.
This Pullman kid, Lewis Pullman, whatever, like, I liked his struggle. I thought he was a good actor. I thought he did it very well. The struggle that he had, like, oh, I'm just a random guy. What's going on with me? But yeah, we're big fans of Stevens.
Yeah. And then the asterisk is that the real title is the New Avengers, right?
Yes.
That's what they're going with.
That was the asterisk. Yep.
That's all I've got to say as far as the movie goes. We'll talk about the post-credit scenes, but if you guys have any last words on the movie, if not, we can go right into the post-credits.
Florence Pugh really tried hard to do that stunt at the beginning of the film. Like, she petitioned hard to Kevin Feige.
Jumping off the building.
Because she jumped off another building that's very similar in height, like in real life.
Yeah.
She's like, let me do the stunt. He's like, no.
It's like,
We can't do that.
Florence, have you looked in the building we're in? Do you see all the green? This is how we make movies. It's just a giant green screen.
Yeah.
You could jump off this. You could jump off this green screen ledge into a vat of pillows if you like.
Yeah.
10 feet down.
And apparently they kind of almost made it maybe just to kind of make her happy for a little while. And then it got close nah, we're not going to do that. Of course. You're the star of the show.
Wow, take it easy, Tom Cruise.
I
guess
know,
is the point
I know,
there.
right.
But so all right, the post-credit scenes. The first one was just like the cereal scene was just a gag of Red Guardian, like, look, I'm on the Wheaties box. Do you
I
want
didn't
to
even
buy
like
the Wheaties
this.
box?
You could have done something funnier with him here, I think.
Yeah.
See, that's how I felt about all of his jokes for the most part. Like, I kind of enjoyed him at the beginning, but then it became too many stupid jokes that to me didn't land. And comedy's subjective; it just didn't work for me.
I thought he was mostly funny. Like, they'll be doing all kinds of shit, and he shows up to tear a pillow in half. He's just that guy. That's just who he is.
Sure. And then during the credits, because we had to wait for the last one, it was at the very end. Mm-hmm. During the credits, and I looked at, a lot of people noticed this. I found out later, but when they were showing the music credits, I was reading it, and then it showed Fantastic Four theme. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So the next thing we're gonna watch, the post credit scene is gonna, have Fantastic Four involved. But really, it was just like this. First of all, it was the longest post credit scene in MCU history. They said
Very
it was
long.
almost 3 minutes,
Yeah.
Right?
And it's mostly just them in Avengers Tower. Like, oh, Sam Wilson's pissed at us because he's putting together an Avengers team, and Red Guardian has that Avengers with a Z joke in it, and Bob's just kind of there. And then, they're like, oh, something's entering the atmosphere, and it's the Fantastic Four ship.
Fuck yes.
And that's the little 5 seconds of they're here.
I popped for that. That was
And
fun.
everyone online feels they're like, well, that spoils the Fantastic Four movie because clearly Galactus won and they're fleeing their planet. But I don't think that's true because that's not a very heroic thing to do. If you're the hero and you're like, oh, the whole world's blown up, well, let's fucking get out of here.
What do you say we get the fuck off this planet?
Let's just save the 4 of us and no one else. Like, that's not a heroic thing to do.
They'll probably be trying to save the world, and somehow they accidentally get thrown into whatever this dimensional
That's so funny.
shit
That's
is.
what I thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're losing.
Like they didn't run away
then-
on purpose. They were
right.
trying. And
Or
they
like,
just
we
failed.
have to go warn everyone else, that Galactus, or like we know where Galactus is heading next. Somehow they'll figure that out, right?
Because
like when Silver Surfer does her face turn.
Because they did make that point that, like, we saw it with all of the multiverse shit and everything. There's multiple Thanoses and everything, but they went out of their way to say there's only one Galactus.
Yeah.
There's not like a Galactus in each dimension.
Yeah, because you got to stop doing that.
Right.
Because then it's like, what? We're just going to fight a million Galactuses, an infinite amount of Galactuses?
Sure.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
can't do that. Was like the whole problem with the Kang thing.
So maybe they just failed saving their world, and they found out he's coming here next. So they're coming here.
I
to
thought it was
warn
going to be
everybody.
hey, can you come help us with this problem in our world?
Yeah.
Maybe
I thought
that.
it was that.
I think they
Maybe that.
succeed on saving their world because again, that would be the least heroic thing to fly away as your planet blows up. Sorry, guys. Oops.
So they're
sorry.
So what,
You
they're
might
gonna-
as well hit the fucking Tim Allen. Like, you're all dead.
Fantastic.
So what? They're going to come here and bring the Avengers back to their world?
No,
To beat
no. I think
Galactus?
I
Is that
think
what you're
they at
saying?
least like fight Galactus off, and he fucks off, and then Silver Surfer's like, I know where he's going next. And they're like,
Okay.
oh, gotcha. These are just theories, obviously. We don't fucking know.
No.
But yeah, the film made 162 million globally, which always sounds great because these movies always make, cost a fuck ton. They make a fuck ton, but I read that the film needs to make about 700 million to break even, since the studio only gets half the domestic gross.
Right.
And then I found out they get even less overseas. Like China, they get 25% of the box office sales.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
So yeah, these Marvel movies cost a shit ton of money. And I think it's just because they're Marvel movies,
Yeah.
Like Everything Everywhere All at Once had a shit ton of CGI, and it looked, that was a colorful movie that looked great, and there was again a ton of CGI, and like we found out it costs like I think 30 to 50 million, like you know what I mean?
Wow.
You can make these movies for cheaper, but for
Is-
some reason they can't.
Is CGI more expensive than practical? Because this one I think was budgeted 180, and they said they did a lot of practical on this.
I think it just depends on the circumstance, Like obviously, like Marvel doesn't do a lot of practical things, usually,
Right.
Because it's just like, well, we don't have to pay for like set locations, when we just
Right.
film in our fucking building, our green screen prison.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it does. I think overall it's going to end up like Captain America, where they're like, yeah, it lost money, but.
It
We'll
might.
see.
We'll see. Ratings?
I still don't think they're going to keep making movies, though, knowing they're going to, I guess because they know they'll make it all up in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Well,
Like,
sure.
You can't keep losing money.
So
and have
when we get into the news and rumors, like Wall Street Journal has a whole thing on Kevin Feige that we'll talk about later,
Okay.
and it actually goes into what you just said.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I mean, if you lose 100 million on Thunderbolts, you lose 100 million on Fantastic Four, and then you make 800 million on Doomsday. I mean,
What I
you're
just said,
you're
yeah.
still in the black. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they
Yeah,
go all in
that's-
on these big movies just to set it all up and make them.
But again, in the past, they made money on all of the movies.
Yeah, sure.
So this is definitely different. But we'll talk more about that later. So okay, go ahead and give your ratings.
I'll do a 7.5. If I had to go up or down, because I hate 0.5s, I'd probably go 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'd go 8. I think it was real strong. I really liked it. The movie had a lot of heart.
So you would watch it again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is my favorite MCU movie, I think, since what was it?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, I'm not counting that because
Well, but it is.
It is.
But it is.
Setting that aside because it's kind of Sony, kind of a little bit. I would say since Endgame or Spider-Man 2, what was it? Far From Home.
Yeah.
Like since those two, probably this was my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, all due respect, it's like a 4 out of 10 for me. I would never willingly watch it again.
Mind blowing.
So,
Would you
know.
give Madam Web? You had to have given it like a 1 or 2.
Yeah, but see, like, I could have fun watching that movie because it's so bad. This wasn't bad enough to really enjoy. Again, I was just bored with it. They were in that fucking first building for an hour, and I was like, get out of this building already. But it is what it is. To each his own, obviously.
Wow. Yep.
We'll see what our fans thought of it later. For now, let's talk about the latest episode of Dark Side of the Ring. This one on a wrestler that I think none of us have ever heard of, really. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
But he banged all the old school
He sure did,
female
didn't he?
wrestlers.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, this was, again, one of the live fast, die young things. I mean, he died at 33.
Super young.
Super young.
This was a fun one for me to watch because, like you guys, I knew nothing about him, but
Yeah.
I feel bad that I don't because he was
Right.
kind of like at the beginning of so many big things.
They were like, he's an innovator, and then they showed us why.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, okay.
And why was he like at such a young age a booker?
Yeah.
I know.
They were like,
Snuck
he
his
was
way into
at
that.
25?
Like
Smart.
25.
Yeah.
Smart kid.
That's nuts.
That is crazy. So yeah, the show starts with Mick Foley and Jim Cornette talking about how talented this guy is. Eddie's brother Doug is on this whole episode talking about how they were tag team partners at one point. And then Jim Cornette, the wrestling historian, explains how their father Tommy Gilbert was one of the most popular wrestlers in the Tennessee territories in the late 60s all the way to the early 80s, and that's what Eddie grew up watching. And then Cornette and Eddie both started in the business as photographers, and they became friends before either of them became famous. So that was, again, all of this is new information for us.
Yeah.
Eddie then started in wrestling by tagging with his father, and they became tag champs together. So take that, Ray and Dominic Mysterio.
That was such a thing back then. Like the brothers, the families
Yeah.
in
Well,
wrestling.
a lot of them are fake, and this one's real, apparently.
Yeah.
Right.
But like with the Hearts and then Randy Savage, like coming from, wrestling family and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then, they mentioned how Tennessee wrestling was all about brawling and blood. They said Eddie fit right in. And then Ricky Morton, they showed like a couple like hard shots to the head, and Ricky Morton says, "That shit hurts, buddy. They were hardcore matches, but we didn't even know that yet." I thought Ricky Morton was really good in this episode too.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good lines.
Yeah, good for
I
him.
love how some of these wrestlers still have their old like gimmick haircuts.
Right.
Three
I know.
three
What are you
decades
doing?
They
later.
all do. I mean, they all are like Hulk Hogan.
Do you know
where it's
why,
like,
though?
this is how you recognize me.
Because he still
Yeah.
does appearances.
Right.
This guy
Yeah.
still wrestles.
Yep.
And just, does his little show up to the gym and get his $300.
Although Sting, though, he's like, I'm not doing the face paint anymore. Sting's like getting rid of the face paint. So
Yeah, I
now,
think
like,
they said like this year is it.
yeah.
But
so
I
now
mean-
everyone's gonna be like,
Well, I'd get rid of it too. Like, I'm not going to, I'm 65. I'm not going to
you're
pay
getting
my
paid.
fucking...
The fans are paying you to take photos with you. They don't want fucking whatever the fuck his real name is. No one knows his real name.
So if you showed up to get a picture with Dave Bautista, if you're like, oh, you're not like Drax, fuck off.
But he's Batista at least.
So you need him all jacked with no shirt
Yeah,
on.
but Hollywood stars
Come on.
don't. Hollywood stars don't do that. Wrestlers do. That's part of it.
That shit's got to be exhausting.
You
though.
better-
every
you better-
appearance doing all of that.
You better lower your asking price then, Stinger.
a couple bucks. Got to lose a couple
Who's
bucks.
still? I mean, at this point, who doesn't already? If you have your photo, or you know what I mean, like
It's like,
whoever
no-
wants the Sting photo probably has it
Probably
already.
has one.
Or there's the fans that are probably like, I get a new Sting photo every year.
No- nobody.
Excuse me.
Nobody. You ain't Sting. You're Steve. I'll give you $10.
Exactly. So Cornette says this one Japanese wrestler got the idea of hardcore matches from Tennessee and took it back to Japan and made a fortune.
Who would have thought that Japan death matches started with a mustard bottle getting broken over some fuck's
Yeah.
head in like Tennessee?
Right.
Hey!
Jesus.
But that's why Cornette is so important to these shows, because he knows things that no one else does.
Everything.
man.
Like he's the Tarantino of wrestling. Like they're both historians.
He's this historian, yeah.
In that sense, Tarantino knows everything about the history of film, and Cornette knows everything about the history of wrestling. So then Eddie ended up wrestling for the WWF for a short period of time. He had a match in Madison Square Garden. But then one night they said Eddie was driving, and they said he was on his way to meet with Vince McMahon Sr., but it was midnight, so I imagine he was just driving to New York to probably meet him in the morning. But he said he was really tired, and he crashed his car into the back of a truck. They showed a photo. I don't know if that was just like, like if that was the actual photo or not, or like here's what it would look like.
Yeah.
But it didn't look pretty.
If that was it, that's a how did you survive kind of
Yeah.
wreck. And another wrestler car accident.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. They said he was
So
in
many.
critical condition.
Well,
He
these
broke-
guys are in pain. They're tired and they're driving everywhere.
Driving
Yeah.
through the night everywhere.
Shit, yeah, to hurry up to their next event, all this.
Right.
Ay, ay, ay.
I'm surprised we didn't lose more of them, honestly.
Well, that's just, yeah.
They said he broke his neck. The steering wheel hit his chest hard. They told him he'll never wrestle again. His brother said his heart was like jello. It will never heal.
Ugh, Jesus.
And Eddie was only 21 years old at this point.
Sucks.
And Cornette said he didn't care how bad it was. He was going to get back in the ring, and he was wrestling 3 months later. Broken neck? 3 months later?
Crazy.
Broken freaking neck. Well,
Yeah.
Kurt Angle won gold with a broken neck.
He sure did. But yeah, wrestling is best when it's based in reality. So, of course, they did an angle where the masked superstar re-injured his broken neck with a neck breaker on the floor. And Cornette says, unfortunately, that's where Eddie met Dr. George Sahorian, who was the doctor that was providing steroids to all the wrestlers. He was the main witness in the prosecution in the trial against Vince McMahon.
I don't understand it. Like, these doctors look like they're bad doctors.
know.
They look like
you're like,
movie
this guy-
villains.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you, the Bond villain doctor or something? Like, what do you...
How many wrestler deaths do you think this dude is responsible
Oh,
for?
so many.
I can't even.
So many.
Like, can
Yes.
you put a number? Yes. Yes.
Like indirectly, just because of all the drugs he got them hooked on.
Yes.
I mean, of course. I've also watched like other shows on him where they're like, this guy loved being on camera. Like, because they show how he was on camera. They were like, well, what's more real than getting a real doctor to make it seem more legitimate? And they were like, yeah, this guy loved being on camera. And yeah, Sahorian provided Eddie with steroids, with the pain meds. And then WWF transitioned into pushing bodybuilders.
You could con people so easily back then. Again, it sounded kind of like, so where'd you go to medical school? I don't remember what I told them. I can just write on a piece of paper. What are they going to do? Check some kind of internet database? That doesn't exist. They just got to believe me. When are you going to call the school? You can't get through to those guys.
You give them your phone number.
Yeah.
And they call and they're like, hello, Dr. Whoever. Did you prescribe these medications for this wrestler? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they're calling. Pick up the phone. All right, I got it. Shut up. Harvard Medical. This is Harvard. This is Harvard. Yes, this is Harvard.
Exactly.
Yeah, he went here. He was great. He went here. Is that
Yeah.
it? All right, give him that job. What job? All right, bye.
Yeah. It was just like when Vince was clearing wrestlers. He's getting, hello? Doctor? Hello, is this the doctor? Oh, great news. You're cleared. That's fantastic. You can wrestle. Can I talk to him? Oh, no. Oh, the signal died. Sorry.
Too bad they didn't have cell phones back then. Hello,
Yeah.
doctor? Hello?
Yeah.
Put it on speaker. I can't. It's broken.
Yeah.
Now go away and go take a pill.
So WWF transitioned into pushing bodybuilders. Thanks, superstar Billy Graham. Thanks a lot. No, but
All these heart attacks.
Eddie even said he knew he was going to be buried since he wasn't, that size. So Eddie went back to Memphis and he reinvented himself as a heel. And that's where, he was known as Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. As Jericho in the voiceover tells us, that was his most iconic persona.
Ricky Morton had a fun little line where he was like, all these guys were getting all roided up and jacked and everything. We took a little something to help, and it helped tone us. But it's
Of course.
like we took steroids, but we didn't take steroids.
Yeah, right.
Ridiculous.
Exactly. They showed that he had a big feud with Jerry the King Lawler.
Yep.
And then that's where he became the booker of Mid-South Wrestling at the age of 25.
What is happening?
Where they did an angle where Eddie joined the other Soviet wrestlers and they beat up Bill Watts. I was like, fuck, this is pretty good. I don't know. This would be good TV.
Right.
But then Bill Watts sold the company to Crockett Promotions, and then a year and a half later, Crockett sold to Turner Broadcasting, which became WCW.
Yep.
And then Eddie joined WCW, and he was on the booking committee, which all the wrestlers were like, fuck, man. If you're on the booking committee, that's just fucking terrible.
Don't be on a committee.
And then Ric Flair, I guess, busted in the room, and what did he say to all of them?
I am now the booker. You or lose, I win all the matches. Or are you a heel?
Yeah.
Are you the new heel?
Yes.
You lose. And let me tell you something. If you don't like it, you're fired.
And then he opened his robe, he's naked, and he helicopter dicked for them. Just
Imagine the phone
now
call.
look at this.
Imagine the phone call. Rick, Eddie changed the match and he beat Ron Simmons. He did what?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind, baby?
Call Jim Cornette right now.
And you just hear like, what are you doing? I'm pile driving my coat. I just threw my shoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ric Flair's the booker. Again, you let these wrestlers book and then they're in the show.
It never goes well.
It's like being in a flag football league, and the guy who's running the league is on one of the teams.
Remember when we
That'd be
got to book Doomsday Wrestling and we made each other the champion?
All right, fair enough. After
But that's what happens.
We didn't leave as champs.
No, well, we weren't allowed to. But we were told that was the one thing we couldn't do.
But we were the best that they had. I see
And we
now.
were like,
now I see it.
we were so
Now I see
adamant
it.
that we wouldn't job to any wrestler that we were like, let's just have the fucking ref beat us because we're not jobbing any of these fucking guys. What, we're going to give Eric the belt for the 50th time? Fuck that.
Hey guys, you're not going to win. Actually, you're going to be in the first match and lose to a couple of new girls, and that's it. We quit. So yeah, I can see it now. I get it now.
See?
I get
of
it
course.
now. Yeah.
As soon as you get the book, I'm champion and I'm the star of the show. That's how it works. Everyone's a fucking mark for themselves, that's for sure.
The next show, I'm like, all right, so Andrew's you now, so get the fuck off your chair. He's a better announcer, and I'm gonna be this guy that takes over the whole thing. And
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, they talk about the night in Memphis where Flair decided Ron Simmons was going to beat Eddie, but Eddie refused to lose in Memphis. Take it easy there, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
So he changed the finish where he goes over. So Flair calls Cornette, offers him Eddie's job, and Cornette took it, but admittedly, he was like, it came at the cost of, like, screwing over my friend Eddie. It's not Cornette's fault. It's just, that's the circumstance that it was, and he felt bad about it. So Eddie left WCW. He became the booker in Memphis. And again, they called him an innovator. It's hard to argue. They did an angle where Eddie ran over Jerry Lawler with his car. But, like, for real, though, like, he really
went too
ran him. He slammed on the gas.
him.
And Jerry went, boom, boom, boom. And you could see it. And it's just like, holy shit.
His
man.
head
Hey, is
popped
he
off the
okay? I don't know.
windshield.
Keep driving.
How many years did he take off Lawler's career? It's because Lawler's like 70 and still wrestling, I think. So it's kind of strange.
Well,
But yeah, that was nuts. And then they said fans called the police, and Eddie in an interview said if I had to go to jail for a week, it was worth it to get a wrestling angle over.
oh my God.
That's how seriously they take this. But yeah, he is an innovator. I mean, how many hit and runs has wrestling had after that? Like an infinite amount.
It's too many.
Yeah. And then Eddie's brother Doug tells a story of a fan chasing after them with a knife, like after he ran over Lawler.
Fucking marks, man.
Of course.
It was so fake back then.
They showed a clip of him hanging someone, and we've seen that a few times since, for sure. Then
Talk
they said,
about your hardcore matchups.
yes. They said Eddie was bouncing around territories. He never stayed long in each one due to the power struggle and burnout. And then he started a relationship with Missy Hyatt,
Good for you.
a.k.a. the one that slept with everyone. Missy Hyatt.
Who, huh?
And then in an old clip, Eddie said, yeah, my dad looked at me and said, good luck. Doug said the marriage only lasted a year and a half, and Ricky Morton was like, he liked beautiful ladies. What can you do?
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
He liked the beautiful. I thought that line was silly.
Right. And then Medusa started dating Eddie after they tagged together against Mick Foley and Luna Vachon. If I didn't have too much wrestling to watch already, I might want to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, Luna
you know?
Vachon looks like a normal girl still. This is like early in her career.
But like Foley and Luna
a little paint.
tagging together.
Right.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
They fell for each other quick. They got married right away. They mention how it was a quick marriage, but they don't mention how long.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It was 4 months they were married.
4 months.
Medusa and Eddie.
I see the marriage and the divorce is in the same year.
Same year. Yeah. Then Medusa, Doug, and Mantell would mention how Eddie would just randomly fall asleep at times due to his addiction to pain pills. We've heard those stories before. Mick Foley loved his feud with Eddie on the independent scene. They showed some clips of them beating the shit out of each other. And then Eddie ended up in ECW when it first got started with the original creator, Todd Gordon. And he even said without Eddie, there'd be no ECW.
And
Crazy.
I never knew any of this. And it was Eastern Championship Wrestling at first.
Yes.
Until Heyman took over.
Right. It was really it was only for like a year, and then Heyman took over the whole thing. But
Wow.
yeah. Ricky Morton said the people of Philadelphia are mean. They don't even like ice cream. So Eddie being a heel there was perfect.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned how Paul Heyman worked with Eddie in various promotions over the years. And Heyman even said Eddie was his mentor. And at a time they were best friends. I did not know that. Heyman and Gordon said Eddie wasn't himself anymore due to the addiction. They wanted to go national, and they said Eddie got paranoid and quit days before a major show. But then Todd explains how Eddie apologized 2 days later, tried to come back, but they were like, sorry, your spot went to Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But then Eddie asked if he could still come to the show to say goodbye to the fans. But then, he stormed to the ring and started just cutting a promo. And they cut his mic, and his brother Doug was pissed, so he started just wrecking everything backstage with a bat.
Oh, boy.
But, even Doug admits is, they knew he was coming, but they didn't know he was coming to cut a promo. And it was so you can understand why they're upset then, Doug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, of course.
he's just sticking up for his brother.
Yeah.
And then Gordon said Eddie and Heyman never spoke after that. So after that, Eddie did an interview, which that's the clips we were seeing of Eddie throughout this whole podcast. It was and Cornette's Eddie shot the first shoot interview.
First shoot video, yeah.
Where one of the personalities involved in wrestling told inside stories of how it was done. In those days, believability in the ring was most important. If the people knew how they were being tricked, it would kill the business. And then Doug said, 10 years after he died, everyone started doing it, including Cornette.
Right.
Who Cornette's the best at it, obviously, but yeah. But then in 95, Cornette recruited Eddie to work for him in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He had one match with Ricky Morton, but then he fucked off to Puerto Rico to be a booker there with Carlos Colon. And Cornette said, after that TV taping, I never saw Eddie again. He was dead 3 months later. And you see Cornette start to tear up, which he doesn't do too often, but he's done it with a few people on Dark Side of the Ring, people he was close to.
He's like, Eddie fucked my wife the best out of any of the wrestlers.
Maybe.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Eddie's last match was in Puerto Rico against a bear. That was his last wrestling match.
Best way to go out?
I don't know who those matches are for, really. You're going to wrestle a bear. It's a
Was it
stupid...
a real bear, or was it like a
Oh, yeah,
bear costume?
I mean, that's how it started in the carnies, right? Or them wrestling fucking bears. Lawler wrestled bears. They would put the muzzle on him and drug him up and then beat a fucking bear. It was so stupid. But again, that's...
Why not?
It worked back then because they were marks and they thought it was real. Holy, he's going to wrestle a bear.
He beat a bear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the report said Eddie passed away of a heart attack in his sleep at the age of 33. But a lot of the wrestlers think that maybe it was an OD. But then his brother mentions the car wreck and again the effect that it had on his heart.
Yeah.
So
That's all. His heart was a ticking time bomb.
who knows? It's definitely young for a 33-year-old. But then Cornette says if Eddie were still alive, he'd be 1 month older than I am sitting here right now, and he gets choked up again. Then this might have been one of the best parts of the episode at the end here, where Medusa reads a letter that Eddie wrote her. And she said it was near the end of his life, and it was heartbreaking, but also heartwarming and funny. She was he said you were a great wife, and I wish I realized that sooner. And then he said, like, I have no doubt about your abilities in the ring and in the... But then she caught herself and laughed, you know? Like, that was a nice little way to end the episode.
Right.
One of the rare Darkseid episodes where he's not a piece of shit.
Right.
He might have been a
No,
pain in the
he
ass
really
to work
wasn't.
with, but
Pain in the ass, sure.
Yeah, he wanted it his way and, didn't get it. But was it the originator of the first real good heel?
Yeah.
Hardcore matches.
Right.
What else?
ECW at the beginning.
Hit and runs.
Hit and runs. Yeah, this guy started it all.
Shoot interviews. Yeah, I thought it was a great episode to learn about someone that we really had no idea about. So
Yeah, this was fun to learn about for sure.
bravo, Dark Side of the Ring. All right, let's get to the news and rumors, aka the Hollywood Hogwash. So a new report from the Wall Street Journal sheds light on how the early 2020s put Marvel Studios on a negative trajectory due to CEO Bob Iger's mandate that forced Kevin Feige to satisfy Disney's hunger for content on Disney+. We're starting up this streaming app. We need, Marvel shows galore. It doesn't even matter if they're good, because as we know, most of them are bad.
Dog shit.
And they said this whole process really stretched Feige too thin. Employees weren't able to secure time with him to get feedback. They were like, all right, I guess we're just going to do this. And then a few months later, Feige would be like, no, that's no good. And they're like, well, we already did it. Like, we can't redo all this now. Too much time and energy and money went into this.
She-Hulk goes into your Roku and starts changing the look of your... What? And then there's the Kevin Feige robot thing that's kind of like this cool... You guys are joking, right?
Right.
Kevin, we couldn't get a hold of you. We shot all of it. We're about to release it.
I mean, how does he not at least see the... What do you think of the Feige bot? Fuck no. I mean, that's so easy. Fuck no, Feige. Like, I understand your job is, you have a lot to do, but check your emails maybe. I don't know.
Yikes.
So yeah, Feige is reportedly now course correcting and starting to go back to quality over quantity, which we're not there yet because 2025, there's still 3 films coming out. Now, whether you think the films are good or not, like still that's 3, and that's a lot of films. And like that's been the case, so I imagine moving forward now there won't be as many. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's just fewer shows, but they're trying to undo Marvel accidentally creating a no new fans club as the MCU began to feel like homework if they hadn't watched various movies or TV shows ahead of time, right? Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about that in Thunderbolts. If you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, you really had no idea who U.S. Agent was. They also said, though, that Feige has a 10-year plan for the X-Men to be involved. Which
10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
But that's MCU plans, like, from the beginning with the first Iron Man movie. They had they had a 10-year plan with that and everything. So, like, Infinity War, because the first Iron Man was 2008, Infinity War 2018, Endgame 2019, so...
True.
That was a pretty good 10-year plan that worked out.
Right.
I'm just really curious to see what post Secret Wars is going to look like, because they're saying they're going to course correct. They're going to go down to maybe 1 or 2 movies.
Right.
Quality over quantity, but they already hit the panic button and went back to Robert Downey Jr. to get a couple $1 billion
did,
movies
But
made.
they needed him.
They
They needed him. They needed a star.
They did.
They needed a star in his level.
They did.
Like,
No.
Academy Award winner.
They did, but my point is, this was like a break glass in case of emergency thing. They broke
course.
the glass already.
Yeah.
So what are they doing after Secret Wars?
They're going to kill off all the heroes that no one likes. All the heroes that don't draw money. Like Miss Marvel, she dead.
Maybe.
I mean, She-Hulk gone. Probably the new Black Panther, and yeah, those are all the females. But I mean,
Ant-Man too expensive.
Ant-Man. I mean,
Paul Rudd.
yeah, Paul Rudd is great, but the last Ant-Man movie was not it. I don't know. We'll see what they do. I imagine because you do have a lot of heroes, and now you're bringing in the entire X-Men. I'm sure most of them won't make it out of it,
And the Fantastic Four.
and the Fantastic Four. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, look, last year there was one MCU movie. And it was Deadpool and Wolverine. And home run, Everyone fucking loved that movie.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, Just go back to one a year, 2 if you have to, but less is more.
I'm down.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we mentioned last week how Ryan Reynolds said in an interview that he's currently writing a Deadpool ensemble script. The Hollywood Reporter says it's a Deadpool XMen film team-up film. And the film would include 3 to 4 X-Men members, while Deadpool would be a supporting character.
Interesting.
So, I imagine Gambit, since he's the one that brought Gambit here in the first place.
Sure.
You would think Gambit's going to be in Doomsday, we know. Maybe Wolverine. I don't know. Is he too big for an ensemble movie? I don't know. But I'll take it. That works for me.
Yeah.
Even if Deadpool is a supporting character.
Sure.
Sure.
And if Ryan Reynolds is writing it, he helped write the Deadpool movies. That'll do, pig. Yeah, I'm excited. Also, in an interview with High Performance, Jeremy Renner revealed that Marvel asked him to do a second season of Hawkeye, but for half the money of the first season.
Dude, that's crazy.
He said, "Do you think I'm half the Jeremy because I got ran over?" That's what he said.
Amazing.
Right.
So Renner, he said, "I told him to go fly a kite." He said it the nice way.
Right.
And he even he's just so that he doesn't throw himself under the bus with Disney. He was like, it wasn't Disney. It was the penny pinching accountants that work for Disney. So he put all the blame on them, right?
Yeah.
But he said he turned it down. And according to rumors, they're still going through with the second season, but just with Haley Steinfeld.
No, thanks.
Which is okay, she's great, but you can't have Hawkeye without Hawkeye. He's Hawkeye.
Right. Yeah.
She's Hawkeye Jr.
Right.
That's hey, we're going to have Spider-Man, but no, it's not going to be Spider-Man. It's
them as a team, fine. Her in the lead with him kind of taking second fiddle.
Yeah.
Sure. That's
Right.
still good. Him gone? No.
It was one of the better MCU shows. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't like Loki
Yes.
good or what was the other one? Like X-Men 97, but even like Daredevil, I guess I guess Daredevil was a little bit better than Hawkeye, but it was still
solid.
good. It was solid. It was worth watching.
Sure.
It was fun. Last
Is he out of the MCU now then?
I don't think so.
You think he'll still be involved in the team up?
Yeah, I think it's still possible that he comes back.
He wasn't on a chair.
I don't think so. But a lot of people weren't on chairs.
I know.
Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo. There's still a ton of people, which
Right.
sounds crazy because the cast is already huge.
Maybe he'll just show up and die in Doomsday.
Right, maybe. Also, last week, the first trailer for Now You See Me 3 dropped. And everyone's back except for Michael Caine because he retired from acting a couple years ago. But Morgan Freeman was like, I'll do the movie.
Of course he will.
I've seen none of these.
No?
Are they any good?
They're fun.
I like the first one. The second one got a little too ridiculous for me. And I won't spoil it, but they had one guy who's literally a villain. And in the second movie, it's it was all part of the plan. It was but it doesn't work. It really doesn't work out with how they did it.
No.
So that upset me.
Right.
First one's really good. The third one, did you see any of the trailer? The cast is back, but they have the new young magicians. It feels like an Expendables 3 situation.
Oh, wow.
Where it's we got the younger people now.
Burt Wonderstone.
Yeah.
Which I love that movie. I'm sorry. I think Steve Carell and Jim Carrey are amazing in that movie. It's just a fun movie to it's on in the background kind of movie. It's just silly and fun. You don't expect anything, and it's funny.
Yeah. They have new musicians. But what was interesting here was Lionsgate put up a billboard in Times Square for an hour with a phone number, and it said, "Text for magic."
I saw this.
Thousands of fans texted that number, and they were sent a link to the trailer along with $119.16 to their Venmo accounts. Lionsgate paid out $250,000 to fans who texted that number.
Anyone, or
and they're
just
this is from the Four Horsemen. Because remember in the movies they give money to people.
So there's the first however many that did it.
Yeah, I did the math. It comes out to 2,100 fans. You would think more people in Times Square, but who knows, right?
Did it say Now You See Me 3, or is it just a number?
Yeah, I think you knew it was Now You,
You
See
knew
Me
it
3.
was.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, people are probably like, all right, whatever.
Right.
New Yorkers, what the fuck?
Of course, yeah. Most New Yorkers don't even look up. In Times Square, they're all like just walking to work. They've seen this every day.
It's probably
their whole
like
lives.
2,100 people not living in New York City that were
Right.
visiting.
There was all just the tourists. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To get people excited for the movie. I'll probably give it a try just because I did like the first one, but we'll see. It's another one of the the rich are evil, and we have to get back at them. Like that's always what it is.
Maybe it'll follow the formula. First one great, second one big drop off, third one a little better than 2.
Maybe. Yeah.
That seems
If I
to
had
be
to guess, it'd
a
probably
thing.
be exactly that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
just a little course correct, but not
Yeah,
much.
the only one that's not in it, and I don't think she was in the second one either, was Bridget von Hammersmark. I don't remember her name, the German actress. She was in National Treasure. She was a love interest in National Treasure.
Oh.
I forget her name,
She wasn't
but-
in the second one.
No, she wasn't in the second one. So she's not in this one either, but yeah. But that's all I've got it, so take it away, Aaron.
Yeah, Sinners is still rolling.
Oh, I gotta see that. I want to see it.
It made another 33 million this week, which is only a 28% drop from last week.
Right.
And that is the second biggest third weekend at the box office for an R-rated movie ever. That beat Oppenheimer and Joker.
If you guys want to see it this week, I'm in, by the way.
I do want to see it.
So
Yeah.
maybe we
let me
can
know.
go see
We've
it.
heard
I'd love
so
to.
much good shit about this.
Yeah.
This one's called.
I mean, I
Sorry.
saw a little scene with Haley Steinfeld where I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but she was like, they were like out in the street, and he's like, I told you, she was like, I thought you told me you loved me, and he was like, no, I told you to stay away from me, and she was like, he's like, but I guess she didn't hear that, and she's like, yeah, I heard you, but then you stuck your tongue up my coos and fucked me so hard, I figured you changed your mind, and I was like, holy shit,
Wow.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I guess the name of that, real quick, going back, it's called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, as opposed to Now You See Me 3.
Oh, okay.
That's the working title, at least right now on
Gotcha.
IMDb. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
Interesting.
All right, what else?
Let's see. Squid Game. The first trailer for the last season releases tomorrow.
Ooh.
Oh,
So we
like
can take a look
Monday
at that.
or Tuesday?
Should be Monday.
Okay, so
Yep.
all right, interesting.
So we'll take a look at that. There's going to be a Tremors sequel series coming
No
to
way.
Netflix
With Kevin Bacon?
with Kevin Bacon.
right, I'm back.
He's back, baby.
I'm back in.
And
Ever since he lost all of his money to Madoff, he'll do anything. Remember, as soon as he lost, he was like, all right, I'll do the X-Men movie, and it'll be the best X-Men movie yet.
Yeah. I
Amazing.
mean, he's clearly good.
Yeah.
Did he go all in on Madoff? Like a lot of these guys?
Yes.
Probably.
No, he's done interviews where he's talked about it. He was like, yeah, we lost our whole fortune.
sorry, Kevin Bacon, but thank you for taking one for the team. 'cause
Well,
now
at
we
least he
get
can
you
go
in
and
some
do a
fun
bunch of
movies.
movies, right? Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
so he's not just back as his character, but he's going to be back in Perfection, Nevada, which is where the first movie took place. I love Tremors. That's always been one of my favorites. Such a fun, stupid movie.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
We should watch it one night because I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so much fun.
How many
It's great.
sequels were there?
There was
15.
75, I believe. And Michael Gross was in every single fucking one of them.
Tremors 2 with Fred Ward. Tremors 3, Back to Perfection with Michael Gross. Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell. There was a TV series in 2003.
I don't
I
think
see
you could
s- I see
count
7.
all the sequels.
According to Google, it's 7.
That's insane.
That seems low. I thought there was more.
Yeah. Yeah, 7. So, what else?
Oh yeah, Bloodlines. The Legend Begins. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
There's
The Legend Begins. It's movie 5.
there is more.
Oh, it's the prequel. Remember?
Yeah, right, of course.
Eventually, you got to do a prequel.
Right.
Chris Hemsworth is going to star in a movie called Subversion. It's an action movie coming
Oh,
out.
right.
They're describing it like Die Hard on a submarine. This is kind of a lazy description, gets thrown around a lot. It's Die Hard on a
Right.
boat. It's Die Hard in a basement. It's,
It's because Die Hard was a cash cow.
yeah. So
Well, again, when you're pitching movies to studios, they want to hear it's this with this.
Of course.
it's this
yeah.
big successful movie in a different
So when you
setting.
say Die Hard on a
okay.
sub, they can go, all right, we're listening.
All right.
What else you got? Didn't they already do the sub one?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Steven Seagal?
Yeah. guy fooled the world thinking, oh yeah, this is a karate master. Sure he is.
I'm the cook.
Amazing.
Gary Busey.
But that's I think that's an Amazon property, right? The Chris Hemsworth one. I think they're trying to like turn that into a franchise. I think it's a Prime thing.
It might have been.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't see that. GTA 6 has been delayed
I know.
to May 2026.
It's just insane.
This game's going to turn into Blade. Like,
it's never gonna. Yeah.
Like, is it ever going to come out?
Again, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013.
Amazing.
2013.
Holy shit.
I still
Yeah.
play it sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
It's great.
It's a great game. Wish they would make another one.
Yeah. And the last.
I mean, what are the chances that's going to get delayed again? It's not coming out May 26, 2026.
No, they're going to push it back to like the holiday season next year.
Right.
Yep. Crazy.
Everyone's going to get that on Christmas. Like your little kids are going to be opening presents and then the husband gets Grand Theft Auto 6.
Honey, look what I got you. Like, Mom, I have a job. I have kids now. Why'd you get me this?
Yeah.
I'm 29. And the last thing I had.
I pre-ordered it for you 10 years ago.
And it just showed up in time for your retirement. Last thing I had, Movie Pass. It's coming out and launching a fantasy sports league app for movies. So if you like fantasy football and sports betting, imagine a movies version where you like draft actors or
They've
directors.
tried this so many times.
Yeah.
What was the last one called? Where you put its stock in an actor and you can make money and what
Right.
the hell was it called?
There's that company I was a part of for 5 minutes that was trying to do it with athletes.
Right.
Was,
That's
you know,
right.
stock in an athlete. That went nowhere fast. I have 1 million shares. You know what they're worth? Zero. Yeah. What's 1 million shares times zero? Don't tell me it's zero. That's a Simpsons joke. I can't help myself. What else?
That's it.
Anything else, Joe? Anything? All right. What are we watching this week? For me, it's nothing new. I'm still watching The Studio, finishing up The Americas. I'm also rewatching Breaking Bad. I'm currently in season 2. You know, it's a great show. There's nothing really to say there.
How many Breaking Bad watches is this for you? 3?
3 or 4? Yeah, it's 3 or 4. One of those is correct.
Sounds about right.
I think it's 4. Yeah.
I think I would rewatch Better Call Saul before I would watch Breaking Bad again.
Well, I've done that
It
as
was
well.
so good.
Well, I'm probably rewatching Better Call Saul after. But no, like, it's kind of, I have it on, like, in the background when I'm working, you know, like, just so that I don't have to pay attention to everything. But I just saw the episode where it's Saul's first episode. It's so fucking amazing. Just his intro and, like, where Badger gets... where DJ Qualls is the undercover cop.
Yeah.
And Badger, like, calls him out on everything. He's like, dude, I know you're a cop. It's so obvious. Look at that flower van and then that other brown van over there. Of course, man. Like, what the fuck? You're such a... And then he fucking he sells it to him, and then the vans pull up.
Yeah, it's great.
So awesome. What about you guys?
Joe?
I watched The Studio episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
yeah.
great. The Kool-Aid thing's just amazing.
The second episode.
Martin Scorsese's in it. Like it's him in Hollywood. So all these stars are in it.
So good. The second episode.
That's right. Yeah, I
is
wanted
the
to make
best
sure I have
one.
like a full hour so I can watch it uninterrupted.
That one's like 25 minutes.
Oh, it
the
is?
second
Oh, it's
episode.
quick, okay.
It's one scene. Like, it's basically all one scene. It's amazing.
And then I did finally get through the first 2 episodes of Last of Us, so trying to
okay.
catch up. And
Right.
I know it's Patreon only, but
Yeah.
shocking.
Right.
And just didn't see that coming and was upset.
Of course. Everyone playing the games was upset when
Right,
that
that's
happened.
what
Like,
they-
it
that's
was,
what I heard.
people were fucking pissed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Absolutely. Aaron?
I watched a couple movies this weekend. The first one, I don't know if you guys watched the old Statham movie, The Mechanic. That was kind
never
of
saw
one
that
of
one.
his. That was kind of one of his kind of noteworthy ones.
Yeah.
People kind of remembered.
Wait, hold on. I'm the mechanic.
That's
Oh,
it. That's it.
Wow,
That's it?
that's the movie.
That's in the movie.
I think he
That's
says
the
that line in the movie.
It's the first line of the movie.
Yeah.
He
And-
walks out with a grease, grag. I'm the mechanic.
And then the 11th line in the movie again. It was fine. It was one of those, Statham
Yeah.
in his prime movies. But the other one I watched, I don't know.
Sorry, Mr. Mechanic, but that man over there just stole my daughter's bicycle. Oh, guess their whole family's dead.
Yeah.
earlier this year, I talked about a new Netflix movie coming out called Havoc. It's going to be a crime thriller with Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay.
I think it came out just like a week or two ago. I think it's pretty new. I saw that this weekend. It was fine. It was really, really bloody. It was super violent. Do you remember that Rambo movie we watched in like 08 or 06 where it was just and people's bodies were just flying apart? It was like that. People would just shoot a machine gun for 10 seconds into somebody's body. It was
I think
crazy.
there were 5 lines of dialogue in Rambo 4.
Yes.
And also, we had this guy behind us. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Remember the guy sitting behind us?
Yes.
Every time Rambo pulled out a new gun, this guy behind us would just lean over and go, "That's an AK-47." And another gun, he's like, "That's blah, 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 blah." Like every single time, we're like, "Oh, cool, thanks." We don't give a fuck. Like, we
Get the fuck up!
Thanks, buddy. You're ruining Rambo.
Yeah.
But no, it was fine. It was like a 6 out of 10. There was some cool action scenes. There was way too much shaky cam during the action scenes.
Sure.
It was pretty distracting.
Shaky cam is so hard to watch, and at home. In theater, it's okay, but like at home, like even if you have a big screen, it's still too small for shaky cam.
Yeah, so it was okay. It was fine, like 6 out of 10.
I remember when I saw Cloverfield, and in theaters, I loved it. And then I watched it at home, and I started to vomit like profusely. And I was like, "You can't watch it at home."
It's hard, yeah. It's really hard. Real quick, have you guys ever seen Spartacus, the TV show? Mm-hmm. I would highly recommend it for you.
Okay.
Just knowing the kind of stuff that you like, and it's one of those shows that's like amazing action and a little softcore porn.
Sure.
Just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just in there. If you're gonna fuck a girl, might as well watch it, right? But it's this great show about those times, right? And he's a gladiator. It's kind of like Gladiator,
Right.
Okay.
where he's a slave and he's got to fight his way through it. Season 1 has Andy Whitfield, and then he dies of cancer in real life. So
That's right. I heard about
season
that.
2, they got to go to a different actor, and they continue the story with Liam McIntyre. But just an amazing movie, a lot of great show. I mean, a lot of great twists and turns. I think I'm going to go back to it as soon as I'm caught up on all my other stuff.
Okay.
But great show. I have no idea where. It looks like Roku Channel, Tubi, Stars. I don't know.
I'll get to that right after I watch Jack Reacher, Joe.
You haven't started that yet?
I
Like
have
not
a lot
even
of time
season
on my
1 or
hands,
season
man.
2? None of it.
It's because they're on what, 3 right now or 2?
What have you seen?
I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, wow.
I've
Yeah,
seen the
you'll
Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise, but I haven't seen the show yet.
Yeah. Season 1's the best. So yeah, start there.
Okay.
All right, let's do some fan questions. Pringles singles. So did Spider-Man and Daredevil go to the Shadow Realm? Yeah, again, that's a hard thing when you make these Marvel movies is where the fuck is Spider-Man? You think he would help out with something like this.
Yeah, you just
You know?
have to suspend disbelief.
yeah.
Like when you're reading a Punisher comic or a Spider-Man comic, you can't just have the Avengers show up every time shit goes wrong.
In one part in the movie, they're like, the Avengers are not available. And it's like, all of them? Where's Hulk? Where's Bruce?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure
Hulk.
Spider-Man's around. They know he exists. They just don't know he's Peter.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thor's around. He's got a daughter.
He's somewhere.
I think.
I don't know where he is. He's somewhere. Can you page him? Can Nick Fury page everyone?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Nick Fury does?
There's a Black Panther.
Yeah.
She's around.
Right.
So many.
Bill Capri read a review that basically said at the height of Marvel, this movie would have been okay. And now it's, hey, it's okay. Are we ever going to be able to raise the bar again? Well, see, I agree with Bill there.
That's
That
funny.
was my point.
That was
Also,
funny.
maybe we shouldn't have Red Hulk and Sentry in our movies if they're not going to be beaten with combat and matched emotionally. Feels like a big cop-out.
I definitely hear you there, but the problem is you have to introduce Sentry so you can have him for Secret Wars and Doomsday, but there's nobody in the MCU that can beat him right now with combat. That's why they had to do it this way.
Like, tell Harrison Ford, hey, we need you to go fight Sentry, and then you could have Hulk versus Sentry. That would
Yeah,
be
but
cool.
he would lose to Sentry too.
No, because then Sentry would just, lose his mind again and be stupid, and then
Oh, he's unstable.
he's unstable.
He's very
So
unstable. That's what I hear.
Pop culture junkie, it's amazing how Marvel keeps making every global catastrophe feel like a mildly inconvenient Tuesday. Who would play Eddie Gilbert in... Oh, this is a two-part. So yeah, I mean, okay, I agree with you there. Who would play Eddie Gilbert in a Netflix biopic, and how quickly would they quit halfway through the script? It's interesting. I just don't think he's well known enough for anyone to make a movie about him, sadly.
MJF, and I'll watch it.
Right. Tony C. For those who feel ripped off from their new Avengers experience, go see Sinners, especially since it's coming back to IMAX May 15th. If you've seen it already, it's still pure cinema. Yeah, we might see it this week, and then maybe we'll talk about it next episode.
I just worry this movie's gotten built up so huge that whatever it is going to be a letdown.
We'll see. Next up, we got...
We don't even know who he is!
There you go.
I thought Thunderbolts was solid, definitely better than Cap 4. Not sure how it got a 95%, but I guess people are fucking marks. Again, that's just like 95% of people liked it. Elaine and her assistant were by far the worst part of the movie, in my opinion. The post-credit scene has me excited for Fantastic Four because the best superhero movies are the ones where the heroes lose. We'll see. We'll see if they lose. I'm not entirely convinced yet, but it's definitely a possibility. Hulk Hogan's brother. For the first time, I feel like everyone loved this movie except me. I fucking hated it. Wow. Seinfeld chick sucked at acting. It was corny.
Seinfeld chick.
I think she's a good actress. I just don't like what they gave her. It was corny, killed Taskmaster for no reason. Sentry barely showed his powers, and the finishing move was a hug, a fucking hug. Well, you at least have one person that agrees with you, brother. The Rizzler. Now I get why Aaron drafted Sentry during the superhero draft episode. I knew fuck all about him other than what Aaron provided. I actually didn't mind the movie. Mind you, the post-credit scenes were better than the actual movie, but I still thought the movie was okay. I'm looking forward to the series. Wait, is there a series? Do we know about this? I have not heard anything about them doing a series.
Like the Thunderbolts, the series?
I would have heard that.
I don't think I heard about that
Yeah,
either.
no. And I did call it. David Harbour would be amongst the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, he was one of the best parts of Black Widow, for sure. I mean, the Black Widow movie was like... Black Widow was pretty lame, but Yolena and Red Guardian were the standouts of that movie.
Yeah.
And they were the standouts of this movie, too. They were just, they were in a different place emotionally, so they weren't going to be as ridiculous.
Yeah. Omar, cry harder for Thunderbolts. Go ahead, cry. Yeah, see, he knew that I already didn't like it, so he takes offense to it.
That's funny.
So I already did, Omar. I cried a lot. Amir, I'm glad Andrew saved me from the Hogwash chat. Liking this movie, the comedy was a little too much and forced at some points. The villain was the biggest pussy ever. Like, what? Your dad shouts twice and you become a villain? The only bright point in this was some Red Guardian scenes. I personally liked Red Hulk better. Sorry for the rant. Okay? So yeah, I think it's just,
Seems kind of split.
It's a divisive movie.
Yeah.
Joey Von Doom. Gotta say, I really enjoyed the new Avengers. Kind of went meta, but in a good way, unlike the pretentious She-Hulk crap. Well, I agree. It's better than She-Hulk. My God. The characters had good chemistry. The movie was fun. Val reminded me of a blend of Cecil. You watch your fucking mouth when you compare her to Cecil. Amanda Waller and Mommy Madeline from The Boys. I guess she was trying to be like a mother figure to Sentry, right? The end credits mean that Galactus ate their planet, right? Fuck Reed Richards. We all knew he failed that mission. Can't wait to see how he shit the bed and literally jump ship and ruin everything here. Anyways, yeah, 8 out of 10. I don't care what these nerds say. But are we going to like the Fantastic Four if the first time we see them, they lose? That's why I feel that's not happening.
But if you do it right and like it becomes something else because it's leading to something new, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but it's not embarrassing if they lose to fucking Galactus. It's Galactus. This is not them losing to
I just don't
Fred
see
the Mole Man.
I just don't see that happening.
Fred the Mole Man.
Like, imagine the MCU starts with Iron Man and he fucking loses his first, it's like, what? Like, this is how you're starting? I mean, they're banking on Fantastic Four. I would put money that they don't completely fail.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
It can't fail because this is the only buildup they have for Doomsday.
I'm saying, like,
there's
they
nothing.
They can't lose in
can't
this movie.
lose.
They can't lose. But we'll see. Fire, Barry Push. Let's talk about the failure lowest rated movie of all time, the dumpster fire that is Snow White.
Oh.
Have you ever seen someone torpedo their career quicker than this girl? Yeah, Rachel Zegler's not going to be in anything ever again.
No.
She is completely blacklisted.
She is box office.
Poison.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Stelos, 2 pushfire berries. All right, these are good though. Red Guardian, Red Hulk, Red Skull.
Well, you push Red Guardian.
I gotta push Red Hulk.
Red Hulk?
Just because of Harrison Ford.
Yeah. And then
I
Guardian.
mean, he was fine, but he didn't do much in the movie.
and then Skull.
I know. He had the little 5 minutes. But it was
Yeah.
the best part.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with Joe. Red Hulk, Red Guardian, Fire, Red Skull, I guess. And then MCU political upgrades. Congressman Bucky, President Ross, Mayor Kingpin.
Mayor Kingpin.
Okay, push Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Barry Ross.
Yep.
Fire Congressman Bucky.
Yeah,
What the
that's-
fuck was that? No one wanted that.
Nope.
He gave Thunderbolts an 8.5. He really liked it.
All right.
And then Steve the Don Valente, can Stone Cold tell us about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I don't know shit about Star Wars, so
Oh boy.
Is that even a character we've seen?
I think he's.
Is he the robot one?
No.
No.
That was.
Who was it
Grievous.
again?
That was
Darth
Grievous.
Plagueis?
Isn't that the original Sith Lord?
That's
Right, that's
yeah.
what I thought too. Yeah, so we haven't seen him in a film. It looks like he might have been in a cartoon at some point. So yeah, no, I can't tell you shit. I have a friend that can tell you a whole lot because he's read all those Star Wars books, Star books since he was a kid. But that's all for fan questions. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Hollywood Hog Pod. Become a supporter of the show at patreon.com/Hollywood Hogwash. And next week, we've got episode 7, I think, of Dark Side of the Ring. And this one is on Jack Haynes. Another one we don't really know much, if anything, about. So
Billy Jack, more my time, so I know a little bit about him. But
Yeah.
just as a wrestler, not his personal life.
But he's not dead.
Hey.
Does that
There
mean he's
is-
in it?
Yes, he's in it.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's that.
That's
So
awesome.
see you guys next week.